Okay, we are live again. It's been a while since last time, and since I'm going to talk about something that, for some reason, I think it's viewed as a controversial topic. Um, for my peace of mind and all of that, it's going to be members only in the chat. So that's just how it's going to be. Uh, Hi there, Ruchi Fox, and hi there, KP Heathen. Good to see you. Um, that's awesome. That's good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about the war in Ukraine, and I will first say that I'm not really that. I've made a decision that I'm not going to comment so much on these things because what can I do? Nothing. It's like I can do nothing to change the situation there. um, and I'm not an expert on what's going on there. I mean, I've been to Russia and I've been to Ukraine, but that's like many years ago. um, and I'm not a military. I'm not an expert military strategist, obviously. And I see people all the time having very uh, strong opinions, and they present those opinions as facts on social media. And I won't do that because I realize that there are many things I don't know about that situation. But I will say this: my hopes, my number one hope, my number one goal, my number one the one thing that I care about the most when it comes to that whole conflict, the war in Ukraine, uh, is not concerning who wins. Well, there are no winners in a war, but no, it has nothing to do with that. And this should be obvious. It should be obvious. It's like my number one priority, the one thing I'm hoping for the most is that we don't get a nuclear war. So, whatever happens, let's hope that it doesn't evolve into a nuclear war. And the thing is that what I think, and again, I'm not an expert on this, but my guess is that Russia under Putin would rather drop nuclear bombs than accept defeat. That's what I think. Okay, and at at one point they are going to feel. I hope this doesn't happen, but they're going to feel like we have to do something now to change the whole situation, and we will drop a nuclear bomb or several. And that's what I don't want to happen, right? Because some people might call me selfish, and I have been called selfish actually for having this opinion. Um, but I don't want a nuclear bomb or nuclear toxic waste um, to come here where I live. So yesterday, or was it the day before? I can't remember now. It was in the news that Ukraine had managed to, using drones, I think they had managed to hit some military targets deep into Russia, inside of Russia. some warheads and things like that, I think. Um, and it was celebrated, and it was presented in the news as happy news. At least here in Norway, it was like this. The presentation was like, "Oh, this is so great! This is like reason to celebrate almost." And I was like, "No, no, that's not reason to celebrate because what happens tomorrow or the day after? Retaliation." So obviously, because of their hurt pride, Putin and his comrades will have they will send their drones into Ukraine and probably kill civilians too, lots of them, because that's what they do, you know. So, and it will go back and forth like this as it has for a long time. So my well, that's why I put in the title, no reason to celebrate. And it's a horrible situation. I don't support Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Of course, I don't. Um, but it's like when you do not, well, when you have the opinion that I have, that the number one priority should be that this does not evolve into a nuclear war. When you have that opinion, some people will call you, well, lots of people, and the official narrative is that, oh, you're supporting Putin now. At least here in Norway, it's horrible how it's become, you know. And I'm just saying, listen, I I wish the world was fair, but it's not. I and if we're going to go by fair as a standard, okay, then this will be a nuclear war because Russia will not accept defeat. They will drop nuclear bombs before they accept defeat. Dictators have a tendency to want to see the world burn before they accept defeat. So that's my. I don't think that, you know what, I don't think it's an extreme opinion to have. I think people have gotten caught up in this I don't know, psychosis, not a clinical psychosis, but you know what I mean. And it's like, oh, Putin is the villain. Well, he's obviously not the hero. um, but the world doesn't work that way. So that's my pointer. That's just what I wanted to say. I didn't want to put neither Ukraine or war or Russia or Putin or anything in the title because it just gets so the comments and all of that. It's so toxic, and why would I want that? I make hardly any money here, um, so why would I do that to myself? This is just my opinion here, and I think it's not an extreme opinion to have. But then again, we live in times where feelings seem to matter more than facts. But anyway, wow, Nero Sukram, that's an awesome donation, and I just said I'm not making any money here. Well, thank you for that. That's wonderful. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Um, let's see here. Let's get to the comments. Orochi folks, that's okay. Yeah, I haven't been doing many live streams lately, um, but it's good to see you here. Laura says that would be horrendous. Yes, I'm so old now, so I'm old enough to remember sitting in my parents' living room as we were watching in the news the toxic cloud moving north from Chernobyl. I remember that. And I can tell you that that was not that was not so nice, you know? Um, but anyway, um, Orochi Fox says the general people of the entire Western world are too apolitical and ahistorical to properly interpret your opinion, regardless of liking it or not. What's worse than out and out warfare? Yeah, I think this has also a lot to do with people's tendency to think um, black and white, hero versus villain. Um, so it's like, oh, the Putin is the villain, then oh, Zelensky must be the hero, and it's. I'm seeing this all the time. Um, and when you look at the facts, it's that's not the case. That's not how it's more nuanced than that. And as I said, okay, you might not like what has happened and what is happening, but first of all, why celebrate something that will directly result in the loss of civilian lives? Okay, because that's what's going to happen. I mean, maybe it's all. I haven't checked the news this morning. Maybe it has already happened. Russia has already retaliated. Um, I don't know, but they will do that. Of course, they will do that. Um, and the crazy thing is that while they are, while Russia and Ukraine are in talks about a ceasefire or a peace deal, the war is raging. That's crazy. That kind of makes you think that at you know at least Russia doesn't want any other solution than to dissolve Ukraine. That's what you could argue, I guess. Um, and there is another idea that I've seen. This idea is that we will actually, through Ukraine, manage to crush Russia's military power. Um, I think that's maybe possible if you pour uh, all of the resources in the EU, for instance, into Ukraine, and you're willing to sacrifice all of the people in Ukraine and soldiers from other countries as well. Eventually, maybe after like 10 years or so, Russia would be crushed. But then we're talking about suffering, human suffering for such a long time that it's almost unimaginable. We're talking about complete eradication of a nation, of a people, the Ukrainian people. Um, so you know, it's like, yeah, but then some people will say, what's the alternative? Should we just let Russia win? Well, the ugly truth is that I think that you have a choice here. Either you let Russia win, or the war will keep going for years, many, many years. So it's like pick your poison there. Um, so Mm, let's see here. I can tell you that in Norway, here in Norway, a political party was recently established, and it's one of these political parties that have, well, in Norway we have many political parties. It's not a two-party state. So one of these small parties, it was recently established, I think, and their main goal is, their one big thing is to stop that Norway should stop sending money and resources to Ukraine. And I'm I feel that I'm not really qualified to say whether that's a good idea or not. My initial feeling is that that seems unfair and wrong, but feelings are not the same as facts. So let's just I'll just say that I don't know. But the interesting part here is that that political party was immediately branded as a political party started by by Russia, basically. And they found one of the big donors. He lives part time in Russia. He's like a very rich man. He's like this investor in and so on. I find it very unlikely that this political party is a Russian party, that it's basically have been started by Russian by agents of Russia, so to speak. The idea here is that if someone at least partly agrees with Russia's stance here, then that must be Russia itself or Russian agents. But when you talk to people, face to face, many people, even here in Norway, I mean, we have Russia as our neighbor, um, they will say that basically what I'm saying now, that, this war just needs to end, and it's not going to be a fair solution because we worry about the nuclear war. And that's what people will say, but they won't dare say so or write so on social media, most of them. And the official narrative is that, well, we will give Ukraine as much money as is needed so that this war can keep going. And that official narrative, it doesn't fit with what people are thinking and saying here. And I find that very interesting. I don't think that political party has been started by Russian agents. And we may disagree with some of the things that they are saying, that this political party, or we may agree, but it is a political party. It's a democracy still, Norway. And you are actually allowed to start a political party and promote ideas that goes against the official narrative. That's part of democracy. But we see this in other countries as well. And it's like, was it Romania? Where this guy who was elected, and he was like very pro-Russia, I think. And then they said, no, this is Russian influence. So we we don't approve that election result. We'll have another election. and this guy will not be allowed to run for office or for the election. You see what's happening here? It's this is what this little this person, J.D. Vance, tried to make a point out of, and I was like, "Look who's talking." Now I won't get into my too much into my dislike of J.D. Vance here, but he had a point there actually. But anyway, um, my main thing here in this live stream, I think, is that the one thing I care about the most when it comes to the war in Ukraine is that whatever happens, don't do anything that will result in Russia starting to use nuclear weapons. I do not want that to happen. And I don't think it's selfish that to not want a nuclear disaster. I don't think it's selfish to not want the war in Ukraine to spread. And in my personal opinion, and this is like, yeah, I'll be careful here. But let's see, Orochi Fox. Yeah, yes. Okay, well, I think what I was going to say is that when you look at Europe, it's a continent of war, and it it it's really not that long ago since we had a war raging in Europe. It's only been, I mean, there's still people alive today that fought in the Second World War. And I wish that we will not get back to that. I mean, yeah, KP Eden says nobody wants that. Yeah, nobody wants that, and it's like, but these wars, what I'm trying to say that is that these wars seem to start when state leaders feel that they are cornered, that they have no other option, that when their political pride has been hurt, when you see what I'm saying here, it's like it could very easily start again, and it's not far-fetched to think that Russia will use nuclear weapons before they accept defeat. They and this is what this there was this debate on the TV, this new political party, and they were one of the guys there. He has now asked to step down from his position in that party because he immediately got so bullied by the media, by everyone basically, for saying what he was saying there. I mean, he's a respected researcher. I don't know. I think it's like political sciences or something like that. And he knows what he's talking about. And you may disagree, but it's not like he's an idiot. And he was, I can't remember his name now, but basically what he said was that what I'm saying now, that, he said, Russia will use nuclear weapons before they let Ukraine push them out of Ukraine. So they won't accept defeat. not under this regime that Russia has now, the Putin regime. Is It's not going to happen. The Putin regime doesn't care about human lives. They don't. And Russia has a history of being willing to just throw people into the meat grinder, so to speak. And they will do that. They are doing it now. Uh, so yeah. So I think there is reason to worry now, um, and I feel that the conflict in Ukraine is mismanaged. Um, I realize that it's a difficult conflict to deal with, but also it's probably been made more difficult than it would have needed to be at this point. Yeah. Okay. Um, Again, I'm sorry that I only allow the chat to be open for members here, but even if I allow it only for subscribers, people will subscribe just to some people just to mess up the chat because people have strong opinions about this. And it's understandable, it's understandable. Yeah. So, how are you doing, by the way? I hope you're doing well. Um, um, okay, thank you, Orochi folks. Mm, yeah, well, Ukraine is a highly corrupt country. It's corrupt to the core. Um, so, I mean, when you pour billions upon billions into the most corrupt country in Europe, except Russia, maybe. I don't know if Russia is more corrupt. And Russia is is a European country, by the way, even though it's obviously stretches throughout Asia as well. Um, what could go wrong when you pour all of that money into a corrupt country? What could go wrong? I think it's quite obvious that a lot of that money has been stolen, um, maybe been used to, I'm just guessing here, but maybe a lot of that money has been used to invest in criminal activity. Maybe someone has bought some mansions, some yachts. Maybe people have invested in crypto. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if years from now, when hopefully this conflict has ended and it's been a while, uh, we will see where the money went. And yeah, I know a lot of people will say that, oh, Zelensky bought mansions here and there and so on and so on. I think it's very difficult to find out at this point because all of this information, it's you need to take into account that a lot of the information out there on the internet about Zelensky and Ukraine is has been put there by Russian trolls, Russian, not Russian trolls, but by, well, Russian agents, because they want to sway the public opinion here in the West. So I have not managed to figure out what is true and what's not true. And these days, this is another thing, you can't trust video clips because it could be AI. And I'm seeing now, like, Trump saying crazy things. And I'm like, did this really say that, or is this AI? And it's so difficult. It's so difficult. I've kind of given up because it's almost impossible to track it, or it's not impossible, but it takes a lot of time to track these video clips and images, back to the source, and to figure out if it's real. Um, yeah, so AI, the wonderful world of AI, you know. Um, so um, yeah, so that's basically what I wanted to say. I hope that you have a wonderful day. I'm doing mostly Viking content now on my main channel. Mm, if in case you wonder, I'll keep this channel and I'll make some videos when I feel like there's something I want to talk about. But you may have noticed that this channel is not growing at all. And that's because it doesn't have a clear angle. Um, and I think with the algorithm and so on, you're welcome, Orchie Fox. You are welcome. With the algorithms, how they work now, they, like, I feel like I challenge ideas and views, so I can't be placed on the right or on the left. um, and I'm not a centrist either. I think that we have a discussion here, and that's a good thing. But that also means that um, the algorithm doesn't know where to put me, in which category, so to speak, in which niche. And so that means that this channel is not going to grow or make money from ad revenue, or, well, a little bit, but it's it's very little. um, so yeah, so anyway, my main focus now is to um, make Viking themed videos on the main channel. And I've been doing that a lot before. There are many, many, many videos about that on that channel, and I really enjoy doing that. So that's what I'm going to do. Keep doing that. Yeah. Um, so yeah, my main channel is linked to in the video description. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Yeah, I have um, a legend coming up on Saturday on that channel. So I won't say which one it is, but it's one of the old Norse legends. Okay, have a wonderful day. I'll go and stroll around in my garden a little bit now. I think it's very early in the morning, very quiet, wonderful, wonderful time of the day. Okay, and we will talk soon. Bye bye.